Good morning, everybody. This is Harmon Hart. Thought I would share with you my Project Rans S-12 air rail that I picked up about a year ago, and I really haven't had time or funds to work on it till now. But I've made some progress, and I want to start documenting this before I get too far along. This was about a 1992 or 93 model kit. It came with a 582 gray head, which is what I'm going back with. The motor had only 40 hours on it, but it had been sitting so long that I decided to go ahead and send it off to Rotax Rick and have it freshened up, put the bigger diameter crank in there with the double slotted rods and his usual longevity and performance tricks. So it's off at Rotax Rick's right now, and I've got the fuselage down here at my home in Houston. Usually this would be up in Kingsland where my hangar is, but it had some pretty good options. It has the Tundra tires. It has, I bought the new updated Rans 9-gallon fuel tanks that go in the wings. I'm gonna upgrade a few things while I'm at it, and this is already cleaned up, if that tells you anything about it was actually really barn fresh is how I got it. The previous owner had built it. He was a spray pilot and wasn't really too impressed with the performance of ultralights and microlights. I guess not after, you know, driving AgCat all those years. And so he actually just kind of let it sit. And when I came along and showed some interest in it, he offered to sell it, and I bought it from him. And the thing is that it needs a few updates. The first thing I'm going to do is remove this tail boom and change it out. There's an airworthiness directive on this tail boom and from Rans, and right here where it connects to the airplane, where this clamp is right here, there is supposed to be an aluminum tube shoved inside of this one as a doubler. And what you do is you shine a light in there, and if you can see that sleeve, you've got the updated tube. Well, I didn't, so I'm having to update that as well. So I bought the tail boom from Rans, and I've had it for several months, and I just haven't had the time to get started on it. But I just wanted to kind of let you know it's going to get all new covering. It's going to get green and gray paint job and green and gray covering. It's going to be really nice. It's got Tundra tires. Like I said, it's going to be a fun plane to fly, and that's about it for now. So stay tuned for more to come. Okay, I've been working diligently this morning to get the tail boom removed, and I finally did. It was a little bit of trouble, but it wasn't too awfully bad. The tail boom on the S-12 is attached in 6 places inside, right here on each side and here, and then 4 places that you can see right there. And then back in the back, you can see it in the distance, is the clamp that has 2 bolts on the bottom that squeeze it together to get it out. And so I have got that accomplished, and the tail boom is removed. Rans was nice enough to send me a new tail boom for only $850. If you look inside of this one, I hope you can see the doubler in there. We'll let the camera adjust. You can see the sleeve that's inside this tail boom, and that is what the upgrade calls for. Evidently, when you insert the tail boom and you clamp it right here, that's a stress point. So if you have a hard landing, that tail has a lot of moment arm, and it could probably collapse that tube there. I don't know that they ever had any trouble like that, but I'm assuming that's what the directive is about. I want to take a second to show you some things on the old tail boom. Inside where it was mounted, there's some nut plates in there that are riveted in that I'm going to replace. As you can see, there was some corrosion setting in on this one, and so I'm glad I replaced it anyway. And down here I've got to drill out those pop rivets, remove the builder's plate, and transfer all these holes to the new tail boom. I do have a building manual an assembly manual for this plane, and so that is my next step. This is May the 7th, 2014. Okay, hi everybody, this is Harmon Hart again. I wanted to go into a little more depth on the tail boom for the RANS S-12. This is a Airworthiness Directive number 131 issued in 2004 for the RANS S-12 air rails. And it says inspection of the tail boom on all air rail models should be conducted at the earliest possible date and prior to the next flight. The inspection is to determine the installation of the tail boom doubler sleeve. Inspect the inside of the boom to visually confirm the presence of a boom doubler sleeve. If there is not a boom doubler sleeve present, the aircraft is to be grounded and the boom replaced with a tail boom with the doubler sleeve. Flight is not recommended for any version of the air rail not equipped with the boom doubler sleeve. The boom doubler sleeve can be viewed from the tail end of the boom using a powerful flashlight. See the drawing for location. So this is a small drawing of where the boom doubler sleeve is located in relation to the end of the tail boom. So in my earlier video you can see that right where the clamp is where the doubler is. They also want you to visually inspect the presence and integrity of the plastic strip between that clamp at the back of the body of the plane and the tail boom to make sure that it's in place and there's no corrosion under it. But anyway, this I've located this Airworthiness Directive online. It's not hard to find. If you have a RANS S-12 and you or you're thinking about buying one, you want to make sure this modification is done because it's expensive and time consuming to do. Thanks. Hello everybody, this is Harmon Hart. Today is the 14th of May and I'm working on the S-12 today. I got a few hours to work on it and I decided I was going to start mounting my BRS parachute, and I got a vertical launch parachute, a VLS, and it mounts on the top up here. And as I got to looking at this, I found that my keel tube up here was fairly corroded, and so I decided to go ahead and change it out. This is the old keel tube, and as you can see, just like that tail boom I showed y'all the other day, it's got corrosion setting in. And I called RANS, and RANS said that they don't anodize these and they sand them square. And so if the corrosion wasn't too bad, then I could go ahead and re-sand it and kind of polish it up and get rid of any of the corrosion pits. And then I looked behind the voltage regulator where it was mounted, and that's some pretty severe corrosion. Now, this is where the motor mounts down on this end, and the rear hole back there is where the wings mount in the back, where the trailing edge spar mounts. Up here in the front is where the leading edge spar would mount. So really everything that hangs on the wings hangs on this keel tube, so that made me a little uncomfortable. So I decided it was only $150 for a new tube, so I decided to go ahead and spring for one, because while the wings are off and all of it's accessible, it would be a real simple matter to do. Later on, after everything's in place, it would be a nightmare once the engine's on and the wings are on to try to remove this tube. It would literally have to be disassembled again. So I decided to bite the bullet on the 150 and go ahead and do it now. And so I'm waiting for it to come in, but here's the fruits of my labor. The motor mounts removed. One of the things when you're working on a project like this, you want to stay organized. Everything I did is bagged, and every bag has a little note to me on it that I know what it means. And so everything is in this box, in this bag, for reassembly. I ran across a few fasteners that were questionable, and I'm going to end up probably replacing those. But for the most part, the rest of the structure looked pretty good. There wasn't any big problems anywhere else. I'm going to have to fit the parachute later. But I want to do all this before I get it painted, because I want it to be done in the correct order. So anyway, that's today's work, and more next time. Hi everybody, this is Harmon Hart. I just wanted to share with y'all my 582 gray head that I sent off to Rotax Rick, and he returned to me from Red Gold Rotax Rebuilds. This is not the motor that came out of my plane. My motor was kind of donated to him with another motor, and he sent me back this one, which is a Model 99, which is a blue head engine. But I opted for the gray head option because I don't fly where it's really cool, and unless you're going to fly in cold weather, that blue head can cause you more problems than it can solve. This has actually got all the blue head upgrades because it is a blue head. It just has the gray head on top. This thing has double slotted connecting rods. He enlarged the oil feed passages. It's got a C gearbox, and I don't know if you can see down in there, but I had the RK400 clutch system put in this machine so that you can start it without the engine being under load. It's also got the electric starter option on here, but I just can't tell you how nice this engine looks with this stainless steel paint that Rotax Rick uses. I'm going to just kind of spin the motor around and let you see for yourself the quality of work that he did on this. It's just really impressive. And so I'm going to spin this engine around and let you see the other side. All the coils are just clean like new. The carburetors were all disassembled, cleaned, and they were shot with the stainless steel paint also. And all the wiring loom on this thing has just been wrapped really nicely. You can see what quality and attention to detail he took with my motor, and I can say right now, without even running the thing, that I would recommend his work. What he told me was actually, if you like the way it looks on the outside, you're going to love the way it looks on the inside. And so I've got to get the motor put back together. The only real problem I had, it was damaged a little bit in shipping, and this plug down here where that piece of tissue is, that was the oil feed line, or reservoir line for the rotary valve, and it's made out of pot metal, and it got broken, and so I've got to put a brass one in there. No big deal, I can screw that in myself. But all in all, this is just a gorgeous looking engine, which should give me real good service for years to come. And I just can't say enough nice things about the way this looks. It's just gorgeous. I also had Rick do the oil injection delete, as you can see down there, the oil injection block off plate. I'm gonna pre-mix my fuel from some bad experiences I had with Sea-Doos and other watercraft. So anyway, that's it. Hope y'all enjoy this. Anybody thinking about using Rick for a rebuild can rest assured that he really does do nice work. And you talk about great customer service, man. He'll tell you anything you want to know about these engines. He's very knowledgeable and very eager to share his knowledge with you and make you an informed customer, which I really liked. So that's it for now. More on the S-12 later. Thanks. Bye. Hi everybody, this is Harmon Hart. I just wanted to give you a little update on the Rans. I'm picking it up this evening from the paint shop. The guy who painted it for me also buffed out the polycarbonate windshield. And I tell you, I wish now that I hadn't bought a brand new windshield for it, because he saved this. I didn't think it was possible. But it looks really good. The color is not white like it looks. It's a kind of a military gray and green. And it'll match the wings really good. But he's got it all painted up for me. And you can see the root tube is the keel tube up there has been replaced, and he also painted up on top and trimmed everything out with edge guard. Looks real nice, but you can see my brand new keel tube in there and how nice that looks. No more crust and rust. But he did a really nice job on the paint. I'm really, really pleased. and he painted the tail boom gray as well. And I have it down here in this crate, and I'm in the process of taking this back to my hangar in Kingsland. So anyway, that's an update for now. Can't get over how nice those windows came out, but really nice looking job. Thank you, Danny Still. It's Harmon Hart, and I'm doing another installment on my Rans S-12. Today I'm going to kind of catch y'all up because I've been working on it, and I'm not sure where I left off exactly, but I have been replacing the cable operated brakes with these nice hydraulic units, and I took them all apart and rebuilt all the Parker master cylinders and replaced all the fluid lines, and I'm at that phase. Unfortunately, this was a huge job. I had to remove the belly pan skin, I had to remove the door uprights and the windshield, which I was going to replace anyway. The polish job that the guy did for me lasted about 6 months, and then the window started to get sticky, and I think the polycarbonate was just so UV damaged that it was just not going to ever be good again. So I had already bought another brand new windshield, and so I decided to go ahead and put it on. Other things that I've done since then, I've got the engine mounted onto the Keel tube, and I've got all the plumbing done, the exhaust is mounted, and I've been mostly getting organized and prepared to work. As you can see, all the hoses are new. I've replumbed everything, and so all is going well there. But I hit a little snag today with the landing gear, but all in all, this opening this cage back up and just kind of opening everything up where I can get to it has been a tremendous help, because all the wiring and everything is exposed, and I'm going to redo some of that. And so that's where I'm at today. I'll give you one more picture of the motor. It's my 582 in place, and the reason that sling is around there is because I'm taking the landing gear and putting the disc brakes on and taking the cable operated brakes off. So that's about it for this time. It's starting to fall together, and I'm getting a lot more work done on it. So I'll have another installment shortly. This is January the 3rd, 2016. Harmon Hart. I'm going to do another little installment on my S-12. I've got some work done today, so I thought I would share with you. We'll get started today with what I've done since the last episode of the S-12. I have got the battery box installed with all the hardware. I've got all the brakes bled and everything working good. I've got the primer installed, the new one, and the primer lines run. I installed a gasculator, pretty similar to the one on my S14, except this time I used the gasculator's instructions, and it says at the top of the gasculator there's a port that you can screw a fitting in to access for a primer fitting. I thought that was a great idea, so I did it. That's my facet fuel pump that I have not installed yet. That's next on my agenda. Please excuse the bungee net. That's what's holding the nose of the aircraft on right now while I'm doing all this work. Okay, if you come around to this side of the airplane, what I've done so far over here is I've added these exhaust gas temperature probes, and I've added these exhaust springs for the joints in the exhaust pipes. And that's pretty much it. I want to take a second to discuss the water cooling of this motor. What I got to talking to Rotax Rick, and we have determined there may be, or may not be for that matter, an issue with the way that the water cooling is plumbed on a Rans. Okay, you see this big loop of hose here that goes up here and around this way, and there's a filler neck up there that you use like a radiator cap. And then it comes down this hose and into this water pump here. It goes up through the cylinders, up into the head, and then on the other side of the motor, it comes out of the head here, and it goes back down to the radiator down below the plane. Potential issue is caused from this steam line right here. Now Rotax, when you quit running this motor, the hot head can continue to, without water being circulated, can form steam pockets. And that's why they call this a steam vent. And here is the steam vent fitting that Rotax puts on there. And that sends the air, when you start up, it blows the air up through this line and back into the filler neck. The issue is that this is the intake side of the water pump, and so you could potentially run air down into your water pump and cause a cavitation problem. And Rotax Rick's claiming that that is a problem. And so what he is suggesting I do, and after investigating it myself, Rotax does recommend that you put the expansion tank on the head side or the output side of the motor. So I'm going to use one of these little Rotax expansion tanks, and I'm going to get the 90-degree fitting that you can option. This one's just straight out here, this fitting, but you can get one that goes 90 degrees up. And I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to do away with this whole loop of hose over here and go straight into the water pump from the radiator. And that will eliminate any potential of air getting into that water pump impeller and causing a problem. Now, for you naysayers who say, yeah, there's a million Rans S-12s and S-14s and everything else flying with this setup and no one seems to be having any problems. Well, that may be true. But as Rotax Rick described to me, the most vulnerable part of the head on a 582 is an O-ring. If you have a pocket of air around that O-ring without water to cool it, it can fry that O-ring. And it may not fail immediately, it may take a while. And so then your engine fails and you blame Rick, or you blame somebody else, and it's a faulty installation. So I'm trying to point this out so that maybe it'll help somebody and they can do what I'm going to do, and that's rectify this before it ever becomes a problem, which is my intent. And if you want to use this information, great. I suggest you research it yourself and come to your own conclusions. And if anything I've said here is helpful, well then great. But you know, I'm not a master Rotax guy or anything like that. I'm just telling you what I'm doing on my plane. So if you follow what I'm doing and you burn your engine up, don't be mad at me. You need to still do your own research. Anyway, that's all for this time. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Everybody, this is Harmon Hart. I'm doing a supplemental video on the cooling system on the Rans S-12. I finally got that completed, and I'd like to show it to you in a separate video. So let me just flip this camera around. And so you can see right here, this is the tube that comes in from the radiator on the bottom of the S-12. I've got a 1-inch 45-degree copper fitting here, and it goes into the water pump, which is right here. Now before, that line would have traveled up here and around on top of the head, and then it would have looped back around here and come in this way. And this way it just does away with that big old loop and the possibility of getting air into your system. So let's go around to the other side again. And what I did here is where the line used to come straight out, and it would go right down here and to the radiator on the output side of the head. I've replaced the fitting that Rans had here that was straight out to a 90-degree fitting, and it goes up with a little piece of 1-inch radiator hose to my Rotax expansion tank, and then it goes over here. This is a 1-inch 90-degree copper fitting, and then it goes straight down here, and this goes down under the plane to the radiator underneath. That's a proper cooling system. The steam tube, the steam vent now comes off the head, goes up here. I put a connection here so that I can have this clear tubing. Rotax Rick claims that, as you can see your coolant level here without ever having to take the cap off. And so that goes into the steam vent fitting here to the top of your reservoir, and then this line up here is an overflow. So if you get too hot, it blows the coolant out this hose and back down. I use the stock Rand's reservoir here. But that's my setup, and I hope y'all can take something away from this. Thank you. Hello YouTube, this is Harmon Hart. It's January the 28th, 2016. I want to catch you up on the latest progress on the S-12. I've got quite a bit done on it. I've been working really hard, so I'm just going to kind of hit you with the highlights of what I've got done since the last time. Okay, I've got all my cooling system redone. I've got the throttle cables ran for the throttles, and I've got all of the mechanical synchronization done. I've got the Key West voltage regulator wired. I've of course got the BRS parachute put in. I've got my antenna for my aircraft radio installed and the wires run. I've got the larger dash installed with most of my instrumentation, and I've got all my switches ran for the fuel pump and for the radios and the master solenoid switch. I've ran all the new tubing for my airspeed indicator and got all the primer lines run from the last time. Got battery cables ran, master solenoid in, fuse box in. Of course the hydraulic brakes are in and working fine. I've got the belly pan back on the machine again, so that part's done. The nose cone is resecured, and so the machine is starting to look whole. I've just got to put the uprights for the doors in and the doors back on to be complete with that. Now I took the seats off that other Rans that was donated to me because the fabric was in better shape. This one has a couple little tears in it, and I took them home and washed them, and I'm going to be exchanging those later. I've also got the fuel pump done and all the fuel line run, and I've got it all stubbed into this filter right here for where the wing tanks will dump into the system. So the wing tanks are going to come through this filter into the gasculator where it's filtered again. It's going to go down through that hose down to the electric fuel pump, and then it's going to go out there and up to the pneumatic fuel pump here. And then from there it's going to go through these two lines to the carburetors. This is the pulse line. It's ran. All the wires are hooked up for the magnetos, for the Keel, for the tack. Everything is working. I also have the starter solenoid mounted and wired and flyback diode installed. And that's, oh, I got my control sticks put in with push to talks. I've got that all wired and ran and ready for my radio. So I also installed this little voltmeter. Now it doesn't go there, I've just got it sit there. It's gonna, when this is all put back together, it's gonna end up going right there. But that has that's a little show chrome item. It's made for Goldwing motorcycles. It's got a clock, a timer, a voltmeter, and an outside air temperature gauge, and a ice warning indicator. It's got a lot of neat little things. It was about $14, so I'll enjoy that. I also opted for a second hour meter, and this hour meter is going to be for engine hours. So that's it for now. I'll catch up with y'all when I get some more done and get it put back together and keep you up to date. This is January the 28th, 2016. Hello YouTube, this is Harmon Hart. It's February 9th, 2016, so I'm giving you my latest update on the S-12 for those of you who are interested. I'm going to flip the camera around and show you what I did to the chassis real quick, and then we'll go to the wing. Okay, I've got my dash installed. Everything but the radio, I'm waiting on a power supply. I got my voltmeter in, everything operates correctly. I've got also a 12-volt power supply here for a GPS to plug into, a cigarette lighter plug basically. And so I've got that done. I've also got the cylinder head temperature probes in up there, as you can see underneath the spark plugs. So my cylinder head temperature gauge should be correct. Now for the wings. This was the worst wing. It was a mess. Right over here, I had a big old dent in the leading edge of the wing, so I bought a new leading edge spar from Rands. And then a guy gave me an airplane. He gave me that old derelict S-12 there. And it came with these old yellow and black wings and tail section and a tail boom and a few other parts. And the airplane was junk, but that's where I got my hydraulic brake setup from. And I robbed the trailing edge spar out of one of the wings because the trailing edge spar, whatever he hit up here, caused it to bend down in that far corner. And there was a very slight bend in the trailing edge spar. And the reason I unskinned these was because the guy had just reskinned them, hadn't even put the wings back on. And the wind came up and knocked one of them over, and it landed on a pile of metal that was sticking up like this, and it just shredded the wing material. And he got pissed off, and that's why he sold it to me to begin with. He just got mad at it. So I took the skins off, and while I was doing that, I decided I was going to go through all the wings and do all the updates that Rands recommend. So I'm going to go over a few of those with you. But first, I'd like to tell you that these are the fiberglass gas tanks that come in the S-12s and the S-14s. And these are real easy to spot because they're gray. Gray fiberglass. And they're great unless you use ethanol fuel. If you use nothing but 100 low lead, these will be just fine. However, I'm not sure that's what I'm going to do. And I decided while I had the wings apart, I was going to go ahead and change those anyway. So I'm getting ready to install the tanks, and they go right here. But I had a lot of work to do changing the two spars. I changed basically the leading edge and trailing edge spar and everything in between. But one of the things I wanted to show you is this airworthiness directive. Now this airworthiness directive on the aileron bell crank gusset is this. This is the gusset right here, this piece of metal. And what Rands tells you to do, since you don't have the material on already, is when you build it, is you put a pop rivet in there, because evidently this little flimsy gusset, if it gets in a bind, it can bow up and grab the bottom of this head of this bolt here, and your ailerons can become inoperative. So the fix is to take a tie wrap around that and tie wrap this piece here to the spar there, and so that keeps that from bowing. But if you're building it, you can simply put a pop rivet in there and it solves the problem. So while I had these apart, I did that. I'm going to also run the threads on this end all the way. Haven't done that yet because I want to do that when I'm rigging the wing on the plane. But there's an airworthiness directive about these push-pull tubes also. And basically what it is that one of them had come undone on a guy who didn't do it properly. And they want this ran down on these threads as far as you can get it and still be able to rig the airplane. So I'm going to do that as well. One of the other things I did was I switched to the Rands S-12 XL style wires here. They go and triangulate the tips of the wing. Here's the other one. And they had tubes there, and there were tubes in mine, but when I called Rands and asked why they switched to wires, they told me that they had opened up several wings and found the tubes broken, and they'd been flying around broken tubes, and it was no big deal. So they just decided to go with cable since everything was under tension anyway. So I upgraded to that as well. And so that's it for right now, but I do have this wing structure completed other than the fuel tank, which I'm going to work on doing in the next day or two, and then I'm going to start skinning the wings again. So that's it for now. It's February 9th. I'll catch y'all with another update shortly. YouTube, this is Harmon Hart. It's February the 17th, and time for another update on the S-12. So today what I've done is I've got the covering off the left wing, and I have replaced the wingtip wires that go and brace the outer two spans on the wing. I completed the airworthiness directive on the aileron bell crank, as you can see the pop rivet in there. And I've replaced the old fiberglass tank with the upgraded polyurethane tank, or polyethylene tank, I'm sorry. So you can see how this tank is put in is a little bit different. I had to remove a rail and drill a few holes and mount some brackets, but it's a better tank. It'll stand up to the ethanol fuels, and so this is what it looks like. I had to locate and mount several fuel fittings for the project and drill them out. There's one under here also. The big thing that I got done today was I got the right wing put on the plane. This is, if you notice, it's not have any skin on it or anything. And this is going to be part of the rigging process where I level and adjust the wing and add the washout to the tips, and then also set the flap and aileron where they need to be. There's a procedure in the manual for doing that, and I want to just kind of have a dry run here. But I got my compression, the main struts in. I don't have the smaller struts in yet, but these are painted gray to match the plane. Pretty awesome. Anyway, I also have got the radio installed in the dash. That's what it's going to look like. Here's a little hint. You notice the windshield isn't in the airplane and the door posts are not in. The reason why is because, do you see that bolt right there for the forward leading edge spar? That's a bitch to get in if you have the windshield in. So I left the windshield out. And you can see it's kind of tight in there. There's where your aileron bell crank attaches. And so I don't have the first wing rib in there, that big fiberglass rib that tensions everything. I just wanted to put the wings on and get them set. I put the fiberglass struts, the fiberglass root ribs in later. But it's just kind of an idea of what it's looking like. You see all the compressed struts and the leading and trailing edge spars and the main struts. So that's it for today, February 17th, 2016. Take it easy, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. This is Harmon Hart. It is Tuesday, April the 5th, and I'm here to give you a small update on the S-12. Show you my progress. Okay, so since the last installment, I have gotten the 3 wing tail surfaces skinned, and I've got all the tail hardware installed. Everything is bolted down. Everything on the tail boom extension bracket is complete. I ran into a little issue, and this might be something for you to take note of if you've got an S-12 or you're buying an S-12. An S-12 is not an S-12 is not an S-12. They have the air rail and the S-12 XL. And what I found out was on the earlier S-12 air rails, these horizontal stabilizer bracing wires are anchored in the front of the leading edge. Okay? And both of the bottom wires go to a single point, and they attach to the tail boom extension there. The newer style is like my S-14, and I'll show you the difference. The newer style, the tangs attach on the top of the surfaces, and they go through, and then each one of these cables here attaches to a different point. There's a hole up here in the tail boom that's got a threaded insert, and then the other one goes back to the tail boom extension bracket. And so that's the way I had built mine. And so I'm short a cable, and I ordered it from Rands today. Rands actually makes an upgraded cable for that still installs in the front, but goes to where this bolt is sticking out, which is right above where the vertical stabilizer attaches. So I'm waiting on parts again, but one interesting thing I found while I was skinning these was that the former owner had put the horizontal stabilizers on upside down. These have an inverted airfoil, which means the airfoil portion of the horizontal surface is on the bottom. So if you look at it, they're relatively flat on top, but on the bottom they have all their aerodynamic surface. And evidently it doesn't make too much difference because he flew it 40 something hours like that. So anyway, that's it for today. I'll give you another update as soon as I get the control surfaces put on and all the cables connected, and we'll go from there. Take it easy, YouTube. Hello YouTube, this is Harmon Hart. It's April the 10th, 2016, and I'm giving you another quick installment on the S-12. The S-12 is finished. I've got the windshield in, I got the doors in, I got the tail configured with the new flying wires. These are the flying wires that I had to order from Rands right here. They attach in the front of the horizontal stabilizer, and then down on the tail boom there's two tangs that hold them in place. So that's what I was waiting on for parts. I did get in my end numbers, and I test ran the motor. I'll have a separate video on that. And for all you Rotax Rick's fans, I'll tell you that it ran flawlessly, no problems. But there's just a quick walk around. Looks great. Got my pre-mix stickers on there. Everything is all right. I'll give y'all one more update in this series, and that will be the day that I fly it. I still need to do a weight and balance on it and check everything, go over all the nuts and bolts, and then I'll let you see the maiden flight, and then that'll be the end of the series. So thanks for watching. Hello YouTube, this is Harmon Hart. It's March 31st, 2016, and I got a real quick update. I know I just updated you yesterday, but I got a lot done today, so I wanted to share with you the tail boom. All right, there's Walker. Get away, Walker. I got the tail boom installed this morning. I got it clamped there at the base, and I got all the bolts inside tightened up, the 2 there and the 4 there, and then the clamps in the back. It wasn't that big of a problem, but there was no way to do it without scratching the tail boom inside, because you're sliding it through metal. I tried Vaseline and everything else, and just was no way to prevent that, so I'll have to do some touch-up painting. But I got the boom on. Of course, I got the push-pull rod in for the elevator here. I got this tail boom bracket in the back partially put on. I got the 2 bolts in the bottom, and then I've got to drill 2 here and 2 on the other side. But with it like this, you can move it just a hair. And so what I wanted to do was just double check and make sure that the alignment of my vertical stabilizer, and I've got it approximately where it needs to be, and you can see, man, that bad boy is dead on straight. So I'm really happy with the alignment, so I'm going to go ahead and drill my other 2 holes. I'll probably do that tomorrow, and then start reskinning the tail. I know I said I wouldn't have to look at that nasty pink and black, but I got to look at it one more time because I set that up there just for a visual aid, really. Anyway, that's it for today. Take it easy, YouTube. Harmon Hart. It's March 30th, 2016. I'm here to give you a small update on my S-12. So I'm going to flip the camera around now and show you what I've done. I've got both wings on the aircraft now. I've got my new seat covers on the seats. Let me get around here where you can see. I got the new seat covers on. These were donated off the old aircraft that I got for parts. I'm going to put a new Odyssey dry cell battery in here, so I've still got to do that. I've got all the lift struts and jury struts attached, and new AN hardware on everything. So it's looking really good. I got the flaps and ailerons adjusted, so you can look down that and see that they're nice and straight. Everything looks real good. All the control cables and push-pull tubes are installed. I got the gas caps built and installed. And so what I've got to do now is put the new tail boom on. This is just an old piece of tail boom that I cut off to glue the liner in here so that I could clamp it and make the liner smooth, so I don't have to fight it when I'm putting the new tail boom in. But here's the new boom. This is the one I got from Rand. The guy that painted my plane also painted this. I've got the initial holes drilled here, and what I'm going to have to do is attach the vertical stabilizer, the bracket about here. I'm going to wait to do that until I install the vertical stabilizer because I want it to be built straight to my airplane and not in some arbitrary hole dictated to me by the manual. This is my pile of skins for the tail, and my tail feathers are over here on the bench waiting to be recovered. Thank God I don't have to look at that pink and black anymore. But that's where I'm at right now. It's March the 30th. I'll give you another update as soon as I make a little bit more progress. But it's coming right along. It's really starting to look like an airplane again, finally. Take it easy, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. This is Harmon Hart. It is Tuesday, April the 5th, and I'm here to give you a small update on the S-12. Show you my progress. Okay, so since the last installment, I have gotten the 3 wing tail surfaces skinned, and I've got all the tail hardware installed. Everything is bolted down. Everything on the tail boom extension bracket is complete. I ran into a little issue, and this might be something for you to take note of if you've got an S-12 or you're buying an S-12. An S-12 is not an S-12 is not an S-12. They have the air rail and the S-12 XL, and what I found out was on the earlier S-12 air rails, these horizontal stabilizer bracing wires are anchored in the front of the leading edge. Okay, and both of the bottom wires go to a single point, and they attach to the tail boom extension there. The newer style is like my S-14, and I'll show you the difference. The newer style, the tangs attach on the top of the surfaces, and they go through, and then each one of these cables here attaches to a different point. There's a hole up here in the tail boom that's got a threaded insert, and then the other one goes back to the tail boom extension bracket. And so that's the way I had built mine. And so I'm short a cable, and I ordered it from Rand's today. Rand's actually makes an upgraded cable for that still installs in the front, but goes to where this bolt is sticking out, which is right above where the vertical stabilizer attaches. So I'm waiting on parts again, but one interesting thing I found while I was skinning these was that the former owner had put the horizontal stabilizers on upside down. These have an inverted airfoil, which means the airfoil portion of the horizontal surface is on the bottom. So if you look at it, they're relatively flat on top, but on the bottom, they have all their aerodynamic surface. And evidently it doesn't make too much difference because he flew it 40-something hours like that. So anyway, that's it for today. I'll give you another update as soon as I get the control surfaces put on and all the cables connected, and we'll go from there. Take it easy, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. This is Harmon Hart. It's April the 10th, 2016, and I'm giving you another quick installment on the S-12. The S-12 is finished. I've got the windshield in, I got the doors in, I got the tail configured with the new flying wires. These are the flying wires that I had to order from Rand's right here. They attach in the front of the horizontal stabilizer, and then down on the tail boom there's 2 tangs that hold them in place. So that's what I was waiting on for parts. I did get in my end numbers, and I test ran the motor. I'll have a separate video on that. And for all you Rotax Ricks fans, I'll tell you that it ran flawlessly, no problems. But there's just a quick walk around. Looks great. Got my pre-mix stickers on there. Everything is all right. I'll give y'all one more update in this series, and that will be the day that I fly it. I still need to do a weight and balance on it and check everything, go over all the nuts and bolts, and then I'll let you see the maiden flight, and then that'll be the end of the series. So thanks for watching. I just thought I'd show you what it's like to start with the RK400 clutch system. Here we go, clear prop. And that's all there is to it.